Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your Vedic Astrology report for the month of July 2021. In this report, in the beginning of it, I will go over all the planetary placements and the planetary shifts we have in store for the month of July. And then after that, I will talk about how these energies and these shifts can be impacting you. As always, this is a very generalized report. And if you would like a more detailed report according to how these energies are impacting you using your personal Vedic birth chart, please feel free to reach out to me at the email below to schedule a consultation or a session with me. I'd be happy to go over your birth chart and we could take a look at what's happening in your life together. My email is visionaryveda@gmail.com. I also have a Facebook page, Visionary Veda, and a Facebook group, Visionary Veda. And if you're new to my channel or you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps these videos and this information to get circulated so that it can benefit more people out there. So let's get started with this Vedic report, Vedic Astrology report for July of 2021. I am recording this on July 4th, Independence Day for the United States. I hope all of you in the United States that are watching this report had a very safe and happy celebration of independence. As of today, the planetary placements are as follows. We have Rahu and Mercury still together in the sign of Taurus. Rahu is in the Nakshatra of Rohini. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel or new to Vedic astrology that do not know what the nakshatras are, just very, very briefly, the nakshatras are the fixed stars which are tied to the zodiacs, tied to the constellations. And the moon goes through one nakshatra as it revolves around the entire zodiac. So it goes through each of the nakshatras. There's 27 of them from new moon to new moon. And then it starts over with the next nakshatra. And these stars are fixed. So this is why we call the system we use the sidereal system, because sidereal is based on the stars versus the normal sort of tropical Western zodiac system, which you're probably all used to, which is based on the solstices, right? The Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, that's my brief little tutorial. If you're more interested in learning about the nakshatras, I will do another video just talking about that. But anyway, sorry to get a little bit off track. So where was I? We have Rahu and Mercury in Taurus, and Rahu is in the nakshatra of Rohini, which is one of the nakshatras of the moon. So this is very important, these moon nakshatras which are activated. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the end of my report. Then we have the sun in the sign of Gemini. The sun's going to move to the sign of Cancer on the 15th of the month, which is Sankranti. So we have Mercury changing signs on the 12th of July. We have the sun changing signs from Gemini to Cancer on the 15th of July. And then we have a very, very powerful Venus and Mars conjunction that's happening right now and has been happening in the sidereal sign of Cancer, opposing a retrograde Saturn in Capricorn. So this is a very powerful conjunction and placement, and I'll talk about this further in more detail in this report. Then we have Ketu in the sign of Scorpio, still in Jyeshta Nakshatra. I know it's moved to Anuradha, I think, but it's in the sign of Scorpio nonetheless. And we have no, it's in Jyeshta. And sorry, this is all from the top of my head. And then we have Saturn retrograde in Capricorn. and we have Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius. And I think that covers all the planets. Now, in Vedic astrology, we do not use the outer planets, which are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they're very long in their orbits. But they do affect us on a wider scale, more generational scale. And in this report, I am going to touch on the planet Uranus, because it is also in this very active form, planetary formation in the sidereal sign of Aries. Okay, so those are the planetary placements. We are going to have Mars changing signs on the 20th of July. Venus changing signs on the 16th or the 17th, I believe the 17th of July. We are going to have a very potent new moon coming up here in a few days on the 9th. I'm going to do a whole new video on the new moon and the energies of the new moon, but just briefly, this new moon is going to be in the sign of Gemini, and it's going to be in Ardra Nakshatra. Now, Rahu is in Rohini Nakshatra, right? Saturn is in Shravana Nakshatra. Now, these are both very powerful nakshatras of the moon. And they're going to be in these positions for quite some time, at least until October, if not longer. I think around October is when Rahu is going to shift. But in any case, so this makes the movement of the moon and the new moons and the full moons and all of the ups and downs of the moons very powerfully felt this year, at least until October, okay? So this new moon in the sign of Ardra, for those of you who follow me, and for those of you who don't, Ardra Nakshatra and Mula Nakshatra are on the galactic plane. Mula Nakshatra sits in Sagittarius, and it sits right above our galactic center. Mula Nakshatra's planetary lord is Ketu. So it's very much connected to our roots. Opposite Mula Nakshatra, we have Ardra Nakshatra, which is just as powerful as Mula. Mula is what's rooted, right? And then Ardra Nakshatra is like the storms or the calamities. It's also represented by a teardrop, okay? So now when the moon is new, it's not light, it's dark. So the moon also represents our minds and our emotions in Vedic astrology. So we can find this new moon to be a little bit turbulent. Again, it's represented by storms, a teardrop. But it's a very important or potent time, rather, to examine our psychological workings, our psychological emotional upheaval, and take responsibility, at least look at what it is that's causing these sorts of ups and downs in our emotional lives, and how it lends, what we can do to for the well-being or the benefit of our emotional stability. Okay, so this is just a little warning, but again, there's nothing to be afraid of, right? The moon changes signs, the moon moves through the zodiac, in 1 month. The new moons and the full moons are times that are most potent. Now, the new moons are times of new beginnings, as most of you know. So, allow those storms to come in, allow those emotions to move you, and clear things out. If you have practices or you do any kind of awareness, if you're working on your awareness, these are really great times to be able to observe what it is that's moving through you, and be able to take these lessons and transform them. Transform yourself. This is what all this movement is about. It's for our personal evolution. and our personal transformation. So, you know, nobody likes difficult emotions or turbulent emotional times, but this is our way to practice navigating through them. Okay, so this new moon is going to be one of those times to navigate wisely and to try and stay still in the center of the storm. All right, so more about that in another video. In a few days, I'll release another video about the new moon. And then I wanted to talk about, well, Mercury's going to change sign on the 12th. And that's going to be very powerful for those of you who are ruled by Mercury signs, because Mercury is going to go into Gemini, where it is very comfortable because it rules Gemini. So you're going to feel a lot of movement, a lot of curiosity, a lot of quickness, a lot of fast-paced sort of happenings happening. And it's, you know, going to be a very exciting time as well, especially for those of you who are ruled by Mercury signs. And then we have, since the 3rd of June, we've had Mars debilitated in the sign of Cancer. Now, I've talked about this in my few videos previous. And now we have Venus that has joined Mars. Now, this combination is on the 1st of July. Mars was exactly opposite Saturn, okay? So Mars in and of itself, in a combination like this with Saturn, brings up a lot of frustration. You know, we want to forge ahead. We've done all this work. We don't seem to be going anywhere. We seem to be spinning our wheels and going around in circles and not being able to really make any headway or movement forward. But that's what it seems like, right? Saturn is much stronger than Mars in this opposition. Saturn is in his own sign and retrograde, whereas Mars is debilitated. So we can find a lot of anger coming up. We can be either ourselves or others, you know, or both. We can be seeing a lot of passive aggressiveness, or other people, especially with Venus there, right? Because Cancer is ruled by the moon again. And Cancer is the sign of our deepest emotional life, right? It's like our inner mother, our internalized mother, and how we nourish ourselves, how we nourish others. And with a frustrated Mars there, we could be projecting a lot. I mean, I'm sure all of you have seen this and felt this so far in the past few weeks. People really projecting a lot of their unhealed or unexamined emotional stuff onto you. Now, if you've been doing your work, you're going to recognize that right away, and you're going to be like, okay, this isn't mine, this is theirs. And you're going to be able to not get pulled into it. And just take a step back and not even play, right? But if, you know, we're all humans, and our own, you know, Mars is in Cancer in our chart somewhere as well right now, right? So our own sort of emotional fluctuations can get caught up in some other people's trips, and it could be coming out in very passive aggressive ways or indirect ways, or even subversive ways, because Mars in water signs is not direct. It's not that fire, right? It's very secretive and it's very sneaky. And even though you'd like to call the people out and be like, hey, you know, this is yours and this isn't mine, and you want to explain yourself and you want to dialogue about it, that Mercury that's been with Rahu up until now has not been helping that, all right? So the other thing I wanted to talk about that's been happening ever since Mars entered into Cancer, which was on the 3rd of June, we've had this, like, a lot of what's called in Vedic astrology, these drishtis, or these aspects to the sign of Libra. So check your sidereal chart. See where Libra falls in your sidereal chart. And that house is going to be very impacted, okay? The sign of Libra in general, of course, it's relationships. Of course, it's the masses, it's the other, it's our relationship to the other, but not just our romantic relationships, but our relationships, at large, right? Like with whoever we're in contact with on either a daily or very often. And Mars's impact on it, can make it quite fiery. You could be getting into some conflicts, and or people can just be in this sort of mood, this irritable mood. Saturn is also simultaneously giving its drishti, or its aspect, so it can feel a bit frustrated as well. You can feel other people's frustrations. Other people's frustrations might be coming out on you. As well, what's saving us all is Jupiter is also giving its drishti to Libra. It's giving its 9th aspect. So at least there's that wisdom there, right? There's that wisdom of, okay, I don't need to get into this. This isn't mine. I'm just going to step back. I'm not going to react. Hopefully you've been getting the wisdom. You could also be getting the wisdom of, oh my gosh, I acted out, I reacted, I accused, I projected, right? If you're honest with yourself, and I really hope that all of you out there are, and then you can look at yourself with that Jupiterian wisdom and be like, okay, what can I do, or why did I react, or why did I project, or what's that about? So you could take a deeper look inside yourself to see where that is coming from within, and be able to observe it and transform it into something positive, or use it for a learning experience. Now, Libra also is the marketplace. Those scales are not only the scales of justice, they're the scales of balance, they're the scales of the marketplace. So the markets are fluctuating and are very unstable and frustrated, and there could be some behind the scenes actions, some market manipulation. Jupiter again is helping the whole situation with its benefic drishti, or its benefic aspect, but you have two malefics. Now this is where I want to bring Uranus in, because Uranus is also part of this. We have Mars in Cancer, we have Saturn in Capricorn, we have also Jupiter, all looking at Libra, and opposite Libra in the sidereal sign of Aries, we have Uranus. Now, Uranus is the planet of revolutionary change. We're talking about the markets. We're talking about commerce. This is going to impact the markets. It's going to impact the crypto market, because Uranus is the new. Uranus is the future. Uranus is the rebel. Okay, so all of these market fluctuations and changes are going to stabilize soon. It'll stabilize a lot more once Mars moves into the sidereal sign of Leo. Then we're only going to have Saturn and Jupiter, as well as Uranus. Uranus is aspecting Libra for the next 7 years. Okay, so it's definitely going to show by the end of Uranus's transit out of Aries, we're going to see a whole different way of commerce and money as well. But that's a whole nother video. Okay, so did I cover everything? Oh yes, and then we're going to have Mars moving into Leo on the 20th. Venus is staying close to Mars, okay? And Venus is moving out of Cancer into Leo on the 17th. So this Venus-Mars conjunction, right? It can also bring out, right now it's in Cancer, so it can also bring out a lot of passion in our emotions in Cancer, but once it goes to Leo, it's going to set that Mars on fire. Mars is a very passionate, aggressive, direct planet with Venus, so it can stir up not only our romantic passions, but what inspires us, right? Because it's Leo, it's the fifth sign. It is what we want to create, what we want to inspire. How can we get these passions to align, and how can we express them? How can we create something, right? Whether it's children with procreation or any other kind of creation to express our innate creativity. So that is a little bit about Mars and Venus. And then we have Jupiter and Saturn in retrograde until October, but because this video is already at 20 minutes, I am going to go ahead and end it here. That is your snapshot for the month of July. Really quickly to recap, we have the new moon in Ardra Nakshatra on the 9th. We have Mercury changing signs going into Gemini, which it lords on the 12th. We have the sun changing signs into the sign of Cancer on the 15th. That is the sun Sankranti. So those emotional feelings are going to really be up for a few days between the 15th and about the 20th, because at that point we'll have Sun, Venus, and Mars all together in Cancer opposing that Saturn, all right? And then Venus moving into Leo on the 17th and Mars on the 20th. And that is what's happening for the month of July. So a lot of changes. Ride the waves. Enjoy the life. I hope this video was of benefit. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below. Again, if you'd like to have a reading with me, please feel free to reach out at my email, visionaryveda@gmail.com. Check out my Facebook page, join my Facebook group. I am on Instagram, but I'm not doing much on Instagram yet. I will soon, though. And yeah, until next time, enjoy the life, take care of yourself, and I will see you soon. All right, take care now. Bye-bye.